Mario Galaxy 2. If you asked me a few years ago what my favorite 3D Mario was, or my favorite Mario period, I would have said Galaxy 2 without hesitation. Time has tempered that, and I've actually replayed and analyzed the game twice since then. Let's start with the basics. Story core, non-existent. Story presentation, non-existent. Core gameplay, big thumbs up. Mechanism of gameplay, big thumbs down. Now hang on. That needs some unpacking, but I promised I'd do the super duper mega ultra no really summary, so I have. Galaxy 2, let's cover something really quick. Galaxy 1 got a 206.04. Galaxy 2 got a 187.92, scoring worse than Galaxy 1. And yet, by all accounts, Galaxy 2 is still arguably the better game. So why the discrepancy? Two big reasons. First of all, the near total absence of a narrative access. Galaxy 1 didn't have much, but it had something. It had character, it had fabric and backstory, it had something of an arc, and it had establishment for what could have been. Galaxy 2 has nothing. No, that's wrong, because Super Mario Bros. 1 has nothing. Galaxy 2 has negatives. How many of you even remember Lubba? Go ahead, raise your hands. When we streamed the game, almost everyone was like, who's this guy? And some people are like, I can't think of his name. Instead of Rosalina, we got Lubba. And he would not shut up. We have a concept that actually came out of Persona 5, I believe, called empty text. I wish I'd come up with it. One of the viewers came up with it. And the idea is when you use a whole lot of words to say absolutely nothing. And that's Lubba to a T. He will not shut up about extremely basic stuff. And he doesn't add anything to any scene he's in. He's not even funny. There's even a bit during the ending where he literally mugs for the camera. Like he photobombs Mario and Peach. Like, hi, I'm here too. And that's the story axis of Galaxy 2 in a nutshell. I already mentioned this, but Galaxy 2 was a big victim of the elder said something bad about this, so we should follow that concept. This is fascinating to me. We don't know what the story of Galaxy 2 was going to be. But I have a pretty strong theory. I've studied Galaxy 2 more than once in my life, and I'm going to point to several disparate factors we know were going to be in Galaxy 2, and I think together these give us an idea of where they were going with it. First of all, they were going to try and follow through on the events of Galaxy 1. Remember, at the end of Galaxy 1, the whole setting was rebuilt, right? Rebooted. New galaxy. So we have to kind of follow through on what's happening there. Point 2, Bowser is huge all of a sudden for no explained reason. I know that sounds like a weird thing to point to, but it sounds like exactly the kind of slight variance that a new galaxy would have, or I keep saying galaxy, that a new universe would have as a direct consequence of everything getting rebooted. And if there's one thing that's majorly changed, how many other things are different? Point 3, we also know that there was intention to have several cameos and levels based on other Nintendo properties. Based on this, I think this was supposed to be kind of a soft reboot of a continuity of the Nintendoverse. Probably not something to the extent of, like, say, the MCU or anything like that, but still kind of leaning in that direction. You can have your own feeling about that, whether that would be good or bad or in between. That's up to you. I'm not here to cast judgment. I think the idea's neat. I think what we got instead is terrible. Next thing, though, and this is the big one. Galaxy 2, in my opinion, has the best level design of any Mario that we've covered as of this moment in time. I can prove that because I track that kind of stuff. Remember, not vague comments. I know I don't like to say, it's nice. I like to say this has 44 nice things, and this has 42 nice things. I like to have tangible data to work with, right? That's just me. It's me regardless of the review system. So, looking at this, some of you probably know, most of you probably know that part of the review system, we have an audit sheet. I'm actually staring at it right now, just for reference. It's a nice big audit sheet, and it's mostly there to help with the audit, to prompt on ideas, things you might have forgotten about, or to directly compare games immediately alongside each other. It's organized by genre. And we've got categories, controls, core combat, core mechanics. It's all alphabetized to make it easier to find. I'm actually really proud of this sheet. It's taken a while to put together. It's color-coded. I'm a spreadsheet geek. What do you want from me? One of the categories is levels. And over here, you can see in the platformer category, there's a lot of positives for levels. Like Shovel Knight got 36 pluses to levels. Galaxy 1 got 27. Galaxy 2 got 40. That is Galaxy 2. I mean, it should be, right? It's the level pack. If they didn't get the levels right, they did something wrong. But Galaxy 2, I honestly started having level fatigue, for lack of a better way to describe it, because each new stage added new gimmicks and new concepts and new ideas, and it's like constantly being like, wow, you know how it is, right? Like you watch some amazing thing, and you're just, at a certain point, you gotta get dulled to it, right? Because it's just continuing to cavalcade you with amazingness. So that was Mario Galaxy 2 from the level design perspective. Why then does it dip so low? Because it's a Wii game. In fact, it is a locked Wii game. It's never been ported outside of the Wii. Or if it has, I'm not aware of it. And so the only method by which to play it is on the Wii. Which means this game is literally physically painful to play, in addition to just being irritating to set up. Because one of the major mechanisms of the game is the spin jump. Which, as I talked about during the Galaxy 1 review, I know I didn't talk about it in the post-review video, fundamentally changes how you navigate the space of the game. I talk about this a lot in platformers. You always want to, very, very briefly, you always want to think about, like the space that a player can access, right? So, like, if you have a double jump, so if you have just normal plain old jump, like in Castlevania, right? You can physically look at the level and paint every area the player has access to, and you could use that data to help design your levels. But when you add new kit, like new movement tech, that means that painted space changes. The spin jump fundamentally changed how they could do level design in Galaxy 1, and it was an awesome change. Similar to how the moveset of Mario 64 fundamentally changed how you navigate that space, with the triple jump, the backwards jump, the long jump, etc. Galaxy 2 still has that jump, but you have to do this to activate it. And this is terrible, because this not only causes physical pain, as we already described, especially since you have to do it all the frickin' time, but it's also extremely imprecise in a game that is actually probably one of the hardest Mario games. Designed to be a difficulty pack for people who've already beat Galaxy 1. So this is a hard-ass game that demands precision with imprecise controls that are physically painful. Enough said. And that brings me to my topic, because another game we just finished streaming today, which I'll catch up in these videos at some point, I swear, is deal breakers. A lot of people tend to give very vague answers for why they like things and don't like things. That's just psychology, right? Because most people don't think about it. That's fine. There's no judgment there. But I bring that up because that's different from the concept of a deal breaker, something that in the grand scheme of things is only a few negatives to a game. Mario Galaxy 2 still scored like 187, which is really, really high scoring of a game. But I'm never playing that game before because it has this in it, which is a deal breaker for me. And I'm sure you have your own deal breakers too. For me, it's usually stuff that's physically painful. There was this PS3 game I can't think of. It was like myth-based. I can't think of it. That would be. I'm never playing that again because the controls of that game are a deal breaker. Skyward Sword on the Wii, deal breaker. Friend Bow, excuse me. That's horrifically gory. Deal breaker, right? Stuff like that is stuff that, even though it doesn't really change the review as much as you'd think, it does still mean that I'm never touching that game again. I'm sure you can think of games that have your own deal breakers too. And all of this is kind of a long way of saying that Mario Galaxy 2 is still one of the best 3D Mario games, and Mario games total, if they ported the goddamn game to the Switch. Because having played Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2 side by side twice for the stream, I can now tell you that the difference in controls is gargantuan. It's not just the fact that they ported it over to the Wiimotes, or the Switch Joy-Cons, excuse me, from the Wiimotes, but they actually thought about and reinterpreted how those controls work to better accommodate the different system. Work was put into doing a good port. Credit to Nintendo. But they didn't do it for Galaxy 2. They didn't do that extra work for Galaxy 2. And that is aggravating. And at this point, who knows? Like, Galaxy 2 is like the forgotten, just black sheep for some reason. And I have absolutely no idea why. Rant off. We're going to play Mario Bros. 3 next. Hope to see at least some of you on stream.